A new patch has dropped for the F1 game and it is affecting the handling. We'll talk about it in just a bit, guys. Racing at Imola, quite convenient because the patch affects the way the car drives over curbs, so we'll see how that works in just a little bit. Before that though, guys, welcome back to another episode of my Lewis Hamilton career mode on F1 24. The previous video, the previous episode, China in the top right, spoiler ahead, watch it. Anyway, let's talk about that previous race briefly before getting into this one and of course the new patch. So sprint race of course in China, so essentially double points on offer, a big weekend, and it didn't go too bad to be fair. We had a pretty solid baseline, however the race kind of got away from us a little bit, and we've had a bit of a weird streak this season where we've got a P1, then a P5, then a P1, then a P6. So, you know, it's kind of up and down all the time in terms of our season results, but generally it's not a big thing to worry about. We are no longer leading the championship, but it's a pretty close fight between us, Verstappen and Norris. This weekend we have no rain forecast, and everyone, and I mean everyone, has brought updates. There's been about a month since the last race and every single team has brought some form of an upgrade. Now this weekend Red Bull and McLaren are the strongest, Mercedes are now third, Aston Martin bring a pretty big package of their own, and we are currently fifth. So up and down, give or take, either way, into the weekend's action, starting off with Friday practice. Now I want to say one thing, guys. I'm recording this with OBS rather than NVIDIA Shadow Play, so this is a test. If you guys have any feedback, let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to increase the quality because I can see it's not particularly great in this episode, so we'll do that in the next one.
Program complete and a job well done. We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage and I can take you through the numbers.
Either way, we're going to talk about practice, and you can see we had tyre wear that was pretty much on the money. Race fuel consumption also pretty much right on the money, both very average, the norm. Lap time wise though, we were super consistent, and after a bit of a poor fourth lap, our fifth one was actually the quickest of the five, so generally confirming we've got a very consistent race car around here. P12 in practice, 1.2 off the pace. Again, we're not using DRS on that huge pit straight, so that also accounts for a fair bit of time. So generally good race runs, and the weekend's off to a decent start. Of course, home territory for Ferrari, so big pressure to perform. So with that said, it's time for qualifying.
Welcome to the circuit named for Ferrari. It is qualifying at a special arena for motorsport. Welcome to Imola.
Into Q1 then, starting off on soft tyres, looking to hopefully have a good session. Currently, both myself and Charles Leclerc last, 19th and 20th in this one. Leclerc not getting a very good first lap on the board, and he's going to be under pressure to hopefully find a lap later on in qualifying. For us though, can we get out of trouble early on? Across the line we go now, and we go P9, which isn't great, but it was a bit of a conservative, a bit of a cautious lap, you know, 113.7. Leclerc did move into the top four at the end. Verstappen ended up setting the pace with a 113.1. So that's your running order for Q1. No surprises, everybody through in terms of the heavy hitters into Q2. Lando sets the pace now at 113.0, lowering the benchmark even more. We have a bit of a scruffy hairpin there, didn't get the apex and just ran a bit wide. Through the second sector split though, we're up compared to Q1, or at least we were up as we invalidate, which isn't great. Luckily, I always put a touch more fuel in just to be safe, and we're going to go straight away yet again, literally 20 seconds later, back on it once again, looking to improve and find some time. Now, we start off the lap with the first chicane at Tamburello, and we find actually a full 10th of a second, so a really nice run through there, and kind of getting used to these new curbs with the new handling, which I don't feel was made a huge difference, but you do have to respect and be a bit more careful with the curbs now. You can't just bash and, you know, drive over the curbs like you could before. You can still do it, but not as aggressively or use as much curb as before. So a much more realistic, I'd say, amount of curb, you know, which you can use now. So you can see at the end of the lap now, obviously going beyond the point where we backed out on our last run due to the invalidation, but we're 8 tenths up, Across the line we go, and it's a 1:13.2 for P3, which is a half a second improvement over Q1. So that's a bit more in the sort of realm of what we're looking for in terms of pace and lap times. We finish a thousandth quicker than Leclerc. Verstappen sets the pace, the first man into the sub 1:13s and looking very quick in this qualifying session. And we now move into Q3. Verstappen 1:12.8, the new benchmark straight away on the first runs. We've done a 0.2. What is our first lap going to be? A 13.0, purple in sector 3, but only good enough for P5. So it all comes down to this, the final run, everybody currently out on laps. Can we find something? Can we fight for pole? P5 as it stands. Let's send it around Imola and let's give a show for the Tifosi. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. We put in an absolute flyer of a lap, an absolute stonker, but it's actually equal to Max Verstappen, who set his lap about 20 seconds before we crossed the line. So in the event of a tie, the pole man is the person who set his time before. So Verstappen is on pole, Leclerc having a bit of a poor qualifying, but that is a big session from us. Front row start in home territory. It's time for the main event.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters in red today. They've all turned out for what we have every expectation will be a sensational event here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 3.1 miles of track at Imola, featuring 19 turns, 9 to the right and 10 to the left. Remember that Imola differs from most other Formula One tracks as it's driven anti-clockwise. Let's hope nobody forgets that today. The exit from turn 18 will probably be the setup for many of today's overtakes, leading as it does into the longest straight on the circuit and its only DRS zone. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Perez, Stroll, Leclerc, Ocon, Tsunoda, Gasly, Albon, Ricciardo, Zhou, Sargent, Bottas, Hülkenberg, and Théo Pourchaire. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And we welcome you to the commentary box overlooking the circuit. I'm Alex Jakes, and I'm joined by Anthony Davidson. Well, they're having a better time than their teammates so far this year. How do you keep that momentum going? Now, those final hours before a race, did you have a routine?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Right then, time for the race. Front row start qualifying was absolutely mental in terms of setting identical times to Verstappen for pole. Either way, front row start, a bit of an interesting position, so we're going to try and align our car to be straight down towards, kind of turn one. On the race strategy front, we're looking at a simple one-stop, medium to hard, pretty straightforward race, to be honest with you. I feel like the pace is very close between the whole field here, so it could be pretty marginal. The pit stop time could be key, possibly boxing a bit earlier as well. We'll see how it goes. Fuel, I'm going to go for 0.8, a bit more than usual. We've had a bit of just generally the last few races, even on the back end of last season, we've kind of struggled with over fueling or under fueling in this case. So we're going to put a bit more in to be safe. And if we do run a bit low on fuel, we should be hopefully okay with no dramas. Other than that, though, we're feeling pretty confident. I think we've got a good race car. Race on the new patch, of course, the curbs feel a bit different. So I want to see how they feel in race trim with a full tank of fuel and some slower tyres. So let's just get into it and let's see what happens. Anyway, race time. Like, subscribe, prediction on where we're going to finish, and let's see what happens. So lining up, AI going very, very slow, but like I said, we're going to try and line this one up facing the inside. Tyres are going cold because we're just not going fast enough, but anyway, we're going to be quite aggressive here. Perfect. Right, quick lights, here we go. Home Grand Prix for the team. Oh, that's a horrible start. No rear traction. Russell just manages to sneak on the inside there. Now Piastri having a look. Gonna go all the way around the outside though. Norris into the lead. And we recover P3.
Okay, we're monitoring somewhere on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
Wrestling back that third spot from George Russell there. Really, really big send around the outside. Now we're going to have to kind of readapt our driving style. Cold tyres, heavy fuel tank, and these of course are mediums, not soft. So Russell having a look here, but we will not let him by. We'll just close the door clean on his face and just let him sit behind. Once again, the top three in the championship, top three in the race at this stage. Let's see how it all unfolds. Either way, DRS will be enabled and we're all going to be within that train in principle, based off what I can see. The entire field is still all together, so nobody has pulled away or broken the train. So let's just see how everything pans out. Technically no DRS until next lap though, because of course only one DRS zone on the pit straight. So let's just use the battery here, make sure we stay close.
DRS is being enabled this lap. You can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Right then, let's just stick with it. Long race, plenty of time to get back to first place. So DRS will now be in effect for the first time. Everyone going purple, as you'd expect. And for the first time now you can see Norris having to defend as Verstappen just goes clean around the outside with the overspeed and moves back into first place. Just being, conservative here, not rushing into anything. We're trying to keep our battery charged, keep our powder dry. We'll look for moving Norris, who seems to be just constantly flashing here, so possible low battery for Norris. We need to watch out for that. That was not out of track limits, but this game, this track doesn't work right. Norris now having a look at Verstappen. Goes around the outside. Good move. These two are going to just keep swapping around pretty much. So we've had this before. We can just sit behind and watch. If we get an opportunity, we can maybe get them both. If we're closed onto the pit straight. But at the minute, I want to play the long game. There's a break in the train further back. Let's try and keep increasing our gap over cars behind. Pretty close, which is what I mentioned before. We might have a chance now to get them both. Got a full charge of battery. Here we go. Oh, that's going to be tight. Nope. Not possible. Verstappen back through. This is what I mean, it's quite tricky to pass when you're in third. But if the opportunity arises or there's a mistake, we will go for it.
Okay, Lewis, we're currently burning through fuel a bit quicker than we'd like, so let's try and make it last for now, please.
That'll be easy. That won't be hard. We're actually saving fuel, so that command is a bit incorrect. Oh, yellow. Is that in front or behind? I think it's behind. Who is it? Aston Martin?
I've got some information on Alonso. They're retiring from the race.
There we go. Alonso out. No safety car though. Virtual safety car or red flag. So we continue as was.
Oh, mate, you made that look easy. Nice work. That's why I love working with you. Smashed it.
We're slowly arriving to crunch time. Pit window will open soon, and that's when things are going to start to happen. These two are just going at it constantly. Verstappen's quicker than Norris, because when Norris gets in front, you know, Verstappen's right on him. But they still can't seem to shake each other off, so just waiting for the right opportunity here. Second lap in a row now, we're struggling through there. Rear tyres starting to go a bit. I thought about it. Into Ravazza there. Instead, I want to try this one again.
We're approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time.
We're going to follow Verstappen through here. Norris moving all over the shop, but we go around the outside into second, and now we can get hopefully a run of Verstappen, a clean run from P2 back where we started. Right then, let's have a look at Max and see if we can try and get a move done here. All of a sudden I am starting to really struggle on tyres, but I want to see if it feels any better out front. Usually it's easy to follow, but we're going to try and go through here using the straight line speed. There we go. Now we lead from the front. Let's see what kind of pace we have. Can we stretch this pack? Norris is falling back quite a bit. We're not going to break Verstappen. Almost, but not quite. We really did pull out a pretty decent gap there between Acqua Minerale and the Variante Alta chicane. And also look at the two Ravazzas as well. We pull away. But Max
We're going to box this lap and push hard on the in-lap.
will have DRS, but we'll get a chance to stay in front.
Okay, Lewis, we want to make sure we're saving some ERS, so let's try and charge it up now.
I'm working on it. Okay, we'll keep the strategy simple. We're not going to make things complicated. Here we go. We'll box for hards.
Okay, nice work. Really good job with that target, mate.
Oh. Oh my god, a 10-second penalty. Oh my god. I mean, it's a good stop, 2.4, it's not a slow one, but that's a bad one. I feel like they maybe moved the pet entry line a bit closer than last game. I could be wrong. Muscle memory let me down there.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
Oh, anyway, bad news. Good news, Verstappen had a slow stop, so he's out of our DRS range. So for once, Red Bull mechanics getting it wrong, or Verstappen got held. Either way, it benefited us, and we now have actually broken DRS. So that might be our golden ticket. So we are now going to have to try on a hot lap as quickly as possible to get a 10-second cushion to whoever we can. Can we get it to Max? Who knows? But the more cars we clear, the better. Max on the pace though. On the out lap here, we've got to try and get on it. Don't want to let him back in DRS range because that would be disastrous. Russell ahead of whichever McLaren pit. Maybe Norris stayed out. I didn't even notice, to be fair. I was so distracted by the penalty.
Charles is in the pits.
Right, let's stay on the battery. Let's keep pushing. Let's get that P1 back on track and just basically try and, you know, do hammer time as quickly as possible. Every single lap, qualifying lap. Verstappen now a bit further back. We managed to break away a bit on that final sector as we go purple. And there we go, back to first. Right. Let's see how this all shakes out then. We are now going to basically do qualifying laps for the rest of this race. Russell up to second and now battling with Verstappen. You can see the time loss. That is huge. That might be the deciding element. The fact that AI might let themselves down battling. That could be huge. Anyway, it's hammer time. That's really putting us on the limit now. 2 warnings. Again, I don't think that was a cut. Max half a second quicker, albeit with a big DRS slipstream overtake on Russell in the process. Oh. Track limits, I'm pushing quite hard right now, trying to break a gap, but it's not easy. Russell and Verstappen lost a lot of time on this lap. They were battling into the first chicane. They've actually brought Norris and Sainz into their fight, so that's also going to help us out as we keep the pace up. Hopefully in 10 laps time we've got something to fight for. At the minute it's looking like P5 on paper, but again they're battling and that might give us the break. Yellow flag for Verstappen. Verstappen with an issue. I think he got taken out or pushed off track. I think he has rejoined, but he's out of the fight for the win, so that's huge for the championship. He's still going slowly. I'll put a replay up and see what happened, but either way, that's huge for us now. Even with the penalty, we finished P4. That's fine, we're still going to outscore Max, which is what matters. Obviously, Lando's still there, but Verstappen's my biggest threat. Okay, I need to save battery now. We've burnt everything up. So a couple of laps running at a average pace. We're halfway there pretty much, give or take. Hopefully they can still battle even though I'm not pushing for the next 2 laps.
Green flag.
Another incident. That first chicane now starting to cause some trouble. Russell, this time the victim.
Okay, Lewis, we've got some clear track in front of us, and let's make the best of it. So please make this next one a very fast lap.
Yep, that'll be done this lap. Sainz still in the gravel. We need to get out. I don't want a safety car. That would ruin our race. We can't have a safety car. Sainz luckily got going. Any form of a safety car red flag now would be the end of it. A VSC would be manageable, but the rest would be disaster. Norris, to be fair, has Sainz out of DRS range, so there won't be any more battles, I don't think. So it's going to come down to pure pace. Full charge. Back to hot lap mode we go. Should be able to stay there now for the rest of the race. Let's see if we can try and increase our gap. We're slightly quicker in medium, so we should be quicker in hot lap. We know that AI ran out of battery on the last lap of the race, so that could be huge as well.
I'm afraid you've been given a time penalty for that last incident, mate.
It's just not going well. I knew I was going to get it eventually. Tires are starting to go. I'm just going for broke now, giving it everything. We're super consistent, 15s, you know, 2s, 3s and 4s every single lap. I don't think we'll win, but we can clear Sainz for P2. That's the target. Right on the limit. Just going flat out, giving it everything. I've been even using a bit of overtake here and there. What's one more warning going to do? Might as well try and get another one and get to 5 and give it everything. We might still do this, you know. I'm just going for broke. I mean, I'm out of battery, which isn't ideal, but I'm just sending it everywhere now, every single corner. With this, we'll probably clear Sainz with Acqua Minerale and the chicane. There we go. P2. Can we find 2.5 seconds in 2 laps to beat Norris? It's going to be pretty tricky. I'll take a warning, whatever, last lap of the race. I'm giving it everything, but the AI actually are using battery on the last lap. They're quicker than I thought. Only now, I'd say we're starting to pull away. So we're not going to win this race. The victory is going to go to Lando and bring the championship closer together, but Verstappen nowhere to be found. P2.
Good job, everyone. Great job with the pit stop. Thanks for continuing to push. It was just too quick for us today. But let's keep pushing, man. It's getting closer.
What a way to head to victory. Lando Norris takes the win.
Well, are we looking at a champion in waiting today with that kind of performance? They were driving with the kind of lack of pressure that you quite often see when a driver knows, they just know within themselves that that championship is within their reach.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
So there we go, race finished in Imola. Lando Norris does indeed pick up the victory, and we indeed finish in second place. So I'll take that. Decent result. We started P2, finished P2. I don't mind. Ultimately, the speeding in the pits was my fault, and then for the track limits, honestly, I think 3 of those warnings weren't mine. You know, I didn't even record the last one because it was pointless, but I'm pretty sure I did actually cut on the last lap. But even still, like, I'm pretty sure 3 of the other ones weren't even warnings. Like, you know, at all times I've got at least one tyre in contact with the white line, but you know, this track's broken and you have to basically be well within the white line to basically not get a warning. Anyway, that aside, let's talk about the rest of the race. So of course, Lando P1, we're P2, Sainz in the podium, Verstappen P8 with the fastest lap of the race, Leclerc P6 from P10 on the grid. And then the big one to note from that one, if we scroll down, is going to be Fernando Alonso DNFing and George Russell P16. So let's look at the standings after that race. Lando Norris is your new championship leader by 3 points. Verstappen is an extra point behind. So the top 3 covered by 4 points. Really close competitive margins early on. Leclerc down in 9th. In the constructors we're second, but McLaren have a pretty decent gap. 26 points over us, 35 over Red Bull. So there's your lot, guys, for the episode. Like, subscribe, comment down below, guys, your thoughts if you enjoyed it. And yeah, apologies for, you know, the 10-second penalty. Also, I recorded this again on a different recording software, OBS Studio. I usually use NVIDIA Shadowplay, so give me your thoughts down below if you noticed the quality any different or any, you know, better or worse. But yeah, in the meantime, in the background, you would have had all the updates and the post-race fallout. So guys, cheers for watching. As always, a big shout out to the members of the channel for supporting the videos and the content. Also, check out the links down below, guys, to discounts and affiliate codes. Also, the videos on screen right now. And yeah, guys, cheers for watching, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.